In a world where noise constantly surrounds us, silence remains one of the most potent tools for those called by God to carry out His divine mission. As C.S. Lewis observed, we live, in fact, in a world starved for solitude, silence, and private, and therefore starved for meditation and true friendship for those chosen by God. Silence is not merely an absence of sound, it is a deliberate and protective choice. To maintain silence, especially regarding the sacred and esoteric truths entrusted to them, is to guard the power and potential of their mission. These truths, often too deep and spiritually transformative for others to understand, are meant to be handled with great care. Imagine walking with the knowledge of divine purpose inside you, secrets that, if revealed too soon or to the wrong ears, could alter not only your path but the paths of those around you. This is the burden and privilege of being chosen by God. Just as Lewis suggests in the Screwtape Letters, there is a real spiritual battle at play, and those chosen by God must be vigilant. Silence becomes a shield, protecting them from the misunderstandings, manipulations, and envy that come when sacred things are shared prematurely. We can turn to the biblical story of Joseph, a man gifted with prophetic dreams, for a clear example of the dangers of speaking too soon. When Joseph shared his dreams with his brothers, they were not ready to hear the weight of his revelations. What followed was a cascade of jealousy, betrayal, and immense suffering for Joseph. Though God ultimately used this suffering for a greater good, it is a powerful reminder that even those closest to us may not be prepared to understand the divine calling on our lives. Lewis writes in Mere Christianity, pride gets no pleasure out of having something, only out of having more of it than the next man. Joseph's brothers, fueled by pride and envy, could not grasp the significance of his dreams, and their reactions set into motion years of trials. But why must the chosen ones guard their revelations so carefully? The answer lies in timing and spiritual maturity. Just as a seed must be planted in fertile soil and nurtured before it can grow, so too must the truths God gives us be handled with wisdom and care. C.S. Lewis frequently touches on this in his works, especially in The Great Divorce, where he explores the idea that spiritual truths can only be understood by those who are ready and willing to receive them. Sharing these truths too early, or with those who are spiritually immature, can lead to confusion, misunderstanding, and ultimately the dilution of the chosen one's mission. In a world where personal information is broadcast for all to see, where every thought is shared instantly, the chosen ones understand that silence preserves the integrity of their calling. It allows them to stay focused on the path God has set before them, without interference or the burden of external expectations. By keeping certain truths hidden, they safeguard their divine purpose and allow God to unfold His plan in His perfect timing. In this way, silence becomes not just a shield but an act of faith. It is the recognition that God's wisdom surpasses our own and that His timing is always perfect. As Lewis so wisely said, the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts. Remaining silent on the most sacred aspects of one's journey ensures that we stay on the path of righteousness, avoiding the pitfalls of pride and impatience. Thus, silence for the chosen ones is more than a strategy, it is an act of trust, a testament to their faith in God's unfolding plan. It protects not only their journey but also the purity and power of the truths they carry, ensuring that when the time is right, these revelations will have the full impact God intended. Therefore, if you feel part of this unique group, watch this video until the end, as it serves as a guide for navigating the delicate balance between deep spiritual knowledge and the need to protect these sacred truths. The power of chosen ones lies not only in what they can do, but also in what they choose not to reveal. Guard your intentions and goals. Have you ever found yourself sharing your most ambitious dreams with someone, only to later wonder if you spoke too soon? For chosen ones, the wisdom in keeping their intentions and goals secret isn't just a precaution, but a critical strategy to ensure their sacred plans have the space and silence necessary to flourish without external interference. By revealing your aspirations before they are firmly rooted, you risk exposing them to doubts and criticisms that can chip away at your energy and focus. Consider the power of silence as a protective force that strengthens your most important goals. The biblical story of Joseph vividly illustrates the consequences of prematurely revealing what is sacred. His dreams were indeed destined for greatness, yet they attracted envy and hostility before he had the chance to fortify them with preparation and maturity. Keeping silent about your future plans is like placing them in a walled garden, where they can germinate and grow, shielded from the scrutiny of others. This sacred space allows you to refine your goals, adjust your strategies, and strengthen your resolve without the distraction of external judgments. It's an act of self-preservation that ensures your dreams take deep, strong roots capable of weathering any storm. This secrecy serves not only as a barrier against negative influences, but also as a space where authenticity and self-confidence can thrive. In today's world of overexposure, the conscious choice of what to reveal and what to hold close is an act of personal wisdom and power. By keeping your intentions private, you allow them to remain pure and aligned with your deepest essence and calling. So when tempted to share your plans, remember that each dream shared prematurely is like a seed cast into the wind, susceptible to being scattered before it takes root. Guard your dreams as hidden treasures, allowing them to develop in strength and truth before unveiling them to the world. With care and patience, you'll be prepared for the right moment, when your plans won't just emerge, they'll become unstoppable forces. Keep your mystical experiences secret. Have you ever had profound spiritual encounters or mystical revelations that seem to transcend everyday understanding? For chosen ones, such experiences are windows into the divine, precious insights that must be protected with great care. Revealing these experiences can distort their sacredness or open them to premature judgment and misinterpretation. These mystical moments, whether visions, spiritual encounters, or deep epiphanies, are intimately personal, often loaded with meaning specific to your spiritual journey. Sharing these experiences without discernment can open the door to misunderstanding or disbelief, diluting the power of these sacred moments. The mystic navigates between the seen and unseen, and their experiences are vital threads in the complex tapestry of reality. Imagine, for instance, an encounter with an angel or a moment of deep clarity during prayer. Such revelations are meant to strengthen your faith and direct your path, not to be shared casually. Therefore, when you choose to share these experiences, do so with those who understand their spiritual significance, people who will help you interpret these revelations within the context of your mission. This level of discretion protects the integrity of your experiences and ensures they remain powerful guides on your spiritual path. Do not spread details about your personal life and wealth. For chosen ones, discretion is not only a protective measure, it's a way to maintain the integrity of your spiritual mission. Keeping an air of mystery around your personal life and wealth preserves your freedom and shields you from the vulnerabilities that exposure can bring. Ostentation can attract envy, resentment, or even exploitation. When your mission is spiritual and transcendent, focusing on substance over appearance reinforces the authenticity of your intentions and the purity of your purpose. In a world where appearance often takes precedence over essence, choosing modesty and mystery is an act of wisdom and resistance. Consider cultivating a life that values spiritual wealth over material wealth, where simplicity serves as a veil that conceals the true treasures of wisdom and enlightenment within you. This secrecy is not about deprivation, but about choosing what to highlight and what to protect, balancing visibility with discretion. By managing your personal life and wealth with prudence, you ensure your safety and stay true to your values, allowing for minimal distraction and maximum growth. Do not reveal your spiritual guides and divine connections. For the chosen ones, these relationships are more than mere supports, they are pillars of your spiritual journey, requiring respect and rigorous protection. Revealing details about your spiritual guides or divine connections can trivialize their sacredness or expose them to misunderstanding and manipulation. These connections are deeply personal, often defying common language and superficial interpretation. By choosing to keep the specifics of your divine relationships private, you honor the sanctity of these connections and protect the integrity of your spiritual practice. Think of these relationships as threads of light visible only to your spirit. By guarding these threads from external influence, you ensure your guidance remains clear and untainted by outside forces. This is not only about privacy but about reverence for the most sacred elements of your spiritual journey. As you reflect on your spiritual connections, consider how you can protect and strengthen them. Whether through meditation, prayer, or other sacred practices, the care you show in safeguarding these relationships reflects your seriousness about your spiritual evolution. Some treasures are not meant to be shown to the world, they are kept out of reverence for the divine. In summary, as a chosen one, it's vital to protect your dreams, mystical experiences, personal life, spiritual connections, and even your weaknesses. Doing so preserves the integrity of your mission, ensuring your path remains strong and clear, free from unnecessary obstacles. Embrace the wisdom of discretion, recognizing that not all truths are meant to be shared, and in doing so, protect the light within you for the journey ahead. By choosing to keep the details of your interactions with the divine secret, you honor the sacredness of these encounters and preserve the integrity of your spiritual practice. Imagine these connections as threads of light that only your spirit can fully perceive and understand. By protecting these threads from external influences, you ensure that your guidance remains clear, untainted by outside interpretations. This is not merely a matter of privacy, it's an act of reverence for the most sacred elements of your spiritual journey. Reflect on your spiritual practices and consider how you can continue to protect and strengthen these divine connections. Whether through meditation, prayer, or other sacred rituals, the care you take with these practices reflects the respect and seriousness you bring to your spiritual evolution. When you address your spiritual relationships, do so with the wisdom that not all treasures are meant to be shared. Some secrets are kept not out of fear, but out of deep respect for the divine. This is an invitation to ponder the nature and purpose of your spiritual connections and ensure they remain pure, protected, and powerful. Keep your weaknesses and challenges to yourself. For the chosen ones, vulnerability can be both a strength and a weakness. Deeply understanding your own limitations and challenges is vital for growth, but revealing them to the world can open doors for adversaries or negative forces to exploit. Protecting this information is a strategy for personal protection and strengthening. Knowing your weaknesses is not a sign of defeat, but rather an act of self-awareness that leads to transformation and growth. Just like a warrior who knows every inch of their armor, understanding your own flaws enables you to fortify these areas and better prepare for future challenges. However, unlike physical armor, emotional and spiritual vulnerabilities are best kept locked away. Share them only in circles of absolute trust. By keeping your internal struggles private, you avoid being a target for attacks and maintain control over your healing and strengthening process. This way, you can overcome these challenges on your terms without the interference or judgment of others. Think of your journey like navigating a labyrinth. It's wise to keep your map hidden. Revealing your weaknesses can lead to unwanted interference, and those weaknesses could become strategic targets for those who wish to see you fail. As you work to overcome your limitations, do so with the wisdom that true power arises not only from conquering your flaws but also from mastering the art of protecting your growth journey. This secret is an invitation to reflect on how you can navigate your vulnerabilities with discernment and strength, transforming potential disadvantages into a testimony of resilience and determination. Do not share your rituals and personal practices. For the chosen ones, keeping sacred practices private is essential not only for personal strengthening, but also to preserve the purity and effectiveness of these moments. Sharing details about specific rituals or esoteric practices can distort their meaning and expose them to trivialization or misinterpretation. These rituals, whether deep meditations, intense prayers, or purification rites, are deeply personal, often tailored to your unique spiritual needs. They have been cultivated over years, perhaps even a lifetime, and carry a power that is intimately tied to your personal journey. When you make the details of these rituals public, you risk diminishing their potency. What is sacred can become common, losing the depth and mystery that make it powerful. Moreover, the effectiveness of spiritual practices often lies in their sacredness. Revealing these secrets can lessen their impact and open the door for them to be misunderstood or misused by those who do not share your spiritual foundation. As you continue to deepen your spiritual practices, consider the importance of maintaining their secrecy. This isn't about excluding others, it's about protecting the integrity and effectiveness of rituals that are central to your spiritual path. By honoring the privacy of these practices, you not only preserve their potency but also reaffirm your commitment to a path that is uniquely yours. Do not reveal your visions and prophecies prematurely. Sharing visions and prophecies before their time can provoke misunderstandings and unnecessary fear, while also compromising divine timing. These visions are often part of a much larger puzzle and are meant to be revealed at specific moments, aligned with the natural flow of the universe. Prematurely sharing them can disrupt the course of events, misaligning with the divine's original intention. The sacred nature of these visions requires them to be treated with reverence and responsibility. As the guardian of these revelations, it is your duty to protect their integrity and timing. Discernment is essential to know when, how, and with whom to share such insights. When you do so in a way that maximizes their benefit, you minimize the risk of misunderstandings or unnecessary alarmism. In summary, as a chosen one, you are called to protect your dreams, mystical experiences, spiritual practices, and visions with care. By doing so, you preserve the integrity of your journey and ensure that the light within you remains undisturbed by external influences. Embrace discretion not as a barrier but as a form of reverence for the divine path you are on. This will safeguard your spiritual evolution and guide you toward your highest purpose. There are moments in our lives when we are entrusted with truths that are too profound, too powerful, or simply too sacred to be revealed immediately. This understanding echoes through the Bible, where time and time again, we see God's chosen ones withholding divine revelations until the appointed time. Think of Mary, the mother of Jesus, who treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart, Luke 2:19. When the angel announced to her the destiny of her child, she did not immediately proclaim it to the world. Instead, she carried this revelation deep within herself, understanding that there is wisdom in silence and power in waiting for God's timing. C.S. Lewis, in his exploration of divine mysteries, often reminded us of the weight that comes with revelation. In his work The Problem of Pain, Lewis reflects on the human capacity to grasp divine truths, stating that we often need time and spiritual growth before we can fully comprehend and share these truths with others. In other words, not all knowledge should be shared at once. Some of it is meant to be held, pondered, and nurtured within, much like Mary with the destiny of Jesus. The power of silence and reflection in these moments becomes a spiritual discipline that not only protects the sacred but also allows us to grow into the fullness of our calling. In our modern world, where there is a rush to share every thought, revelation, and experience, the chosen ones must learn the art of restraint. Much like Moses, who was called to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, there were aspects of his relationship with God that remained private, sacred encounters that were not meant for public consumption. Moses' time on Mount Sinai, where he encountered the presence of God, was one such moment. While he came down with the 10 Commandments, there were personal, intimate moments between Moses and God that were not shared with the people. These moments were too holy, too personal to be diluted by the unprepared or misunderstood by the masses. Moses understood the importance of keeping sacred experiences guarded, revealing only what God instructed him to share at the right time. C.S. Lewis touches on this need for secrecy and privacy in his work The Four Loves, where he discusses how even the most intimate relationships, including our relationship with God, require a level of sacred privacy. He suggests that part of our spiritual maturity comes from discerning when to speak and when to remain silent, guarding the divine revelations entrusted to us. Silence, in this context, becomes a form of spiritual protection not just for ourselves but for the revelations themselves. In the same way, chosen ones today have a responsibility to guard their spiritual experiences and insights with care. These revelations are often intensely personal, deeply transformative, and carry the potential to change not only the individual but the course of entire communities or even humanity. Take, for example, the Apostle Paul. After his encounter with Christ on the road to Damascus, Paul did not immediately start preaching. Instead, he spent time in reflection and preparation, withdrawing into Arabia for 3 years before returning to begin his ministry. Galatians 1:15-18. This period of silence was crucial for Paul, allowing him to fully process the enormity of his calling and revelation. It gave him the spiritual depth and strength he needed to carry out his mission with integrity. Lewis also explores the concept of timing in his book, The Chronicles of Narnia. Aslan, the great lion, represents Christ, and throughout the series, Aslan reveals himself to the children at precisely the right moments, never too soon, never too late. His timing is perfect, and his wisdom in withholding certain truths until the appointed time is central to the unfolding of the narrative. This same divine timing is at work in our lives. When we are chosen by God to receive revelations, we must also trust that He will guide us in knowing when to share them. One of the most profound aspects of being chosen is the ability to access spiritual dimensions that go beyond the physical world. This is not a metaphor, but a real spiritual truth. Through prayer, meditation, and divine intervention, chosen ones may be given glimpses into the mysteries of creation, the laws of the universe, or even the heavenly realms. These experiences are deeply personal and often come with instructions or insights that are not meant to be shared with everyone. In fact, as Lewis writes in Mere Christianity, sometimes the most profound spiritual insights are those that remain unspoken because they belong to a realm that defies human language. They are too sacred, too infinite to be reduced to words. However, with these revelations comes great responsibility. Much like the prophet Ezekiel, who was shown visions of the heavenly temple, there are times when God asks us to keep certain things hidden. In Ezekiel's case, God specifically instructed him to withhold parts of the vision, because the people were not ready to receive it. Ezekiel 3:24-27. In this same spirit, chosen ones today must discern when the world is ready to hear their revelations. This discernment is crucial because sharing divine insights with those who are not prepared can lead to misunderstanding, misuse, or even harm. There are people who, out of ignorance or selfish ambition, might exploit these spiritual truths for personal gain, distorting their meaning and causing more harm than good. When we consider the weight of carrying spiritual truths, we must understand that such revelations are not random. They are entrusted to those whom God calls according to His purpose. In C.S. Lewis's The Weight of Glory, he reflects on the immense responsibility of spiritual knowledge, emphasizing that the glimpses of divine reality we are given are both a gift and a burden. For those who have been given this sacred insight, it is a call to stewardship, requiring both reverence and wisdom. These experiences of encountering the divine, or what we might call interdimensional wonders, are not meant to be flaunted or used for self-glorification. Instead, they are a reminder of our fragile human condition and the immense power of God. The spiritual insights you've gained, much like the revelations that came to the prophets and apostles, are not just for your own benefit but are part of a greater mission. As Lewis explains, to be a Christian means to forgive the inexcusable because God has forgiven the inexcusable in you. This same forgiveness and understanding must be applied when navigating the tensions between the seen and the unseen, between this world and the spiritual realm. These experiences are meant to align your heart with God's will, equipping you with a strength and clarity of purpose that transcend the distractions of the material world. They act as a form of spiritual armor, much like Paul describes in Ephesians 6:10-18, where believers are called to put on the armor of God to stand firm against the spiritual forces of evil. Keeping these spiritual secrets is an act of both protection and humility. In Mere Christianity, Lewis speaks about the unspeakable glory that awaits us in heaven, a glory that is hinted at in our earthly experiences but is too grand to be fully comprehended or shared. By safeguarding these divine encounters, you preserve their sanctity, ensuring that they are not diminished by the world's misunderstanding or trivialization. It is in silence and reflection that we often hear God's voice most clearly, and by keeping these revelations close to your heart, you create space for further guidance and wisdom. But this journey is not without its trials. As a chosen one, you will face both external opposition and internal doubt. The path is narrow, as Jesus warns in Matthew 7:13-14. and few find it. Yet the challenges you face are part of the refining process. Every obstacle is an opportunity to deepen your trust in God and strengthen your resolve. Lewis beautifully articulates this in The Problem of Pain, where he reminds us that suffering and challenges are not evidence of God's absence, but rather His active presence in shaping us into who we are meant to become. Your commitment to guarding these sacred truths is not just about self-preservation, it is about protecting the integrity of your calling. As you move forward, reflect on how you can continue to honor the gifts you've been given, using them not for personal gain, but for the fulfillment of God's greater plan. Stay vigilant, as Lewis reminds us that the Christian life is a constant battle between the temporal and the eternal. The spiritual armor you wear is not visible, but its impact is profound. It keeps you grounded, focused, and aligned with your highest mission, which is to glorify God in all that you do. So continue walking the path with reverence and courage. You are not alone. The rewards of this journey are immense, not just in the hereafter, but in the impact you will have on this world. Let your life be a testimony to the power of silence, humility, and obedience to the divine. As you protect the sacredness of your calling, you will find that you are being equipped to fulfill a purpose far greater than you could ever imagine. Keep pressing forward, knowing that every step